Yeah. Can you hear anything now on the chat?
There is sound now.
Ah, there we go. Good. Right, start again now. So yeah, hi chat people. I'm Peter, and this is going to be on level of detail. We're going to start. Let's go big screen again. We're going to start very simple and basic, and work through from the bottom. What is the level of detail, and go right up to how to create level of detail calculations. If you do want to follow along with what I'm doing, then you can go onto the Convo link, the chat that Emma posted on Convo. I put a comment in that post, and you can download the dataset from there. So, yeah. So level of detail is determined by the dimensions in your data. So everything at a row level, the things that you record is part of your data, that becomes what your level of detail is. And then when we're talking about the visualization level of detail, that is changed by dropping stuff into the visualization. So anything you drop into columns or rows or any of the stuff other than tooltip on the marks card will change your level of detail that is shown in the visualization. However, if we drop stuff into pages or filters or tooltip, then that's not going to affect what we've our visualization level of detail. So yeah, let's go back to Tableau quickly. So yeah, if we want to look at country in there, sort them quickly, and then state. If we put it on detail, that's changing our level of detail. Same if we put it on color, the level of detail of the visualization is changing because we're dropping things into the areas that affect our level of detail. So yeah, I quite like this graph from Tableau, or this picture from Tableau, which kind of explains things. Figure it. So yeah, you see there down the middle, your viz level of detail is determined by what you've just dropped into your visualization. Whereas totally aggregated data would be, I don't know, the sales, the total sum of sales of your data. Whereas totally disaggregated data would be the sum of sales for one row in your data. So that's how, and then by doing level of detail calculations, we can leave the viz level of detail where it is, but just change the aggregation or the granularity that we have in our data. So yeah, there we go. Level of detail calculations will move will change how aggregated or granular our data is, but without changing the visualization level of detail, or without changing what's in the visualization. So yeah, how do we start a level of detail calculation? So yeah, always start and end with curly brackets. They'll turn blue as soon as you start, so you know you're starting the level of detail. And then you need to start with a scoping keyword, which would be fixed, include, or exclude, which we'll come on to in a bit. Then after the keyword, you need a dimension declaration, which is basically which dimension do you want to have the level of detail affected by. That can be multiple, it can be 0, it can be none, it can be like everything in your data set, it can be as many as you want in there. Then a colon to break it up, and then you need an aggregated measure in there. So you need an aggregation anyway. So you need a little sum or an average or something like that, or a min-max, and then you need a measure. And that is going to be what is calculated in the visualization. The 3 scoping keywords that there are in Tableau are fixed, include, and exclude. And we'll be coming on to those, going through them in detail, each one of them. Just quick little things that I'm not going to go into, but just to mention them, they are there. Tableau has quite a good video on nested LOD calculations. But I thought I'd leave that for now. If you want to check that out, you can do. And also, yeah, so you can nest LOD calculations. So inside your aggregate expression, that could be a fixed measure and also new to Tableau 10. Ooh, what was that? You can use expressions as a dimension declaration. So that basically means if you want to use a formula such as min order date before Tableau 10, you couldn't do that as part of inside your dimension. But now that Tableau 10 with the update, you can do that. So yeah, the first one we're going to look at is fixed. So yeah, basically when we're doing a fixed LOD calculation, we're computing using a specific dimensions. So no matter what is in the visualization, we will calculate our aggregates based on what's in the fixed LOD calculation and not what is in the visualization. So if we do a quick demonstration of that. Let's drag in country. Now let's drag in country and state. Let's just filter it to America quickly. So filter to America, okay. And then if we want to look at the sales, our viz level of detail means that our sales are going to be broken up by each state. So Alabama has 19,000, but if we want to fix it at a country level of detail, we could use calculated field and go fixed sales at country, type fixed. Then drag that into the text as well, and we see, hang on, let's put them side by side. Actually, no, it's not bother. But anyway, you can see that for everything it's the same because it's fixed at United States. So we've got 300,000 sales for the total as a total for United States. So that is now fixed. It doesn't matter that Alabama's in there. It ignores that Alabama or the state is there and just calculates at the country level. So that can be useful for if you're doing percentage, total, that sort of thing, percentage of country. So yeah, that's what this slide is explaining. So if we fixed in the example, we're fixing by country, and country isn't even in the view at all. So we've got Alabama as the state and Auburn as the city, but we're looking at the total sales by country, and that's the same for each of the states and cities in America. Then you can also do a fixed or whole data set calculation, so you don't need to include the fixed. If you're doing the whole data set, you don't need to specify fixed at top level. If you just put the blue curl brackets around the expression you want to fix, it'll come out the same as fixed total. So that's an easy way of, if we want to go let's create a new one, total sales. Drag total sales in, and you can see that we've got 12 million total sales in the company. But we didn't need to use any of the keyword expressions because we're doing it fixed at the top level. Oops. So yeah, let's do a quick example of how you might use a fixed. So if we wanted to look at how many purchases do our customers make each year, drag a quick count of customer ID. So we know that we've got 1,590 customers in the data. Let's create a quick custom date so we can get the years, so we know how many they're making each year. Date parts. So we're looking. So our customers each year would increasing in customers, the number of customers we have each year. But then we want to look at how many purchases do those customers make in each year. So we'll create a fixed for purchases per customer per year. Go fixed customer ID, comma order date. So we're fixing at both the customer and the order date there. And then the same as before, count D, we're doing order. So how many of the orders do they make each year? Finish that with a curl bracket. Okay, that, and what should it look like? Purchase per customer per year, count distinct. There we go. Customers. Come on. Customer ID. There we go. So yeah, we see. So per year, 694 customers only make one order, but 54 customers make 13 orders per year. That's basically what they're doing. And to do that, you have to fix at customer and order level, order date, sorry, so that it fixes at that level. We've got another quick example as well. So yeah, we want to create this by fixing the sales at a total level instead of having it by, if you weren't able to fix it, then it would be, these would be percentage of the total in USA because we're filtering to USA, but we can use the fixed expression to fix it at a higher level. So if we go state onto map, then go, let's put country filters. Go USA. Hang on. Just change that so it's the right. It recognizes the states. There we go. So if we wanted sales as a proportion of the USA, that's what the colour is representing there, or do a quick table calculation to find the percent of total. I'm going to put that on label as well. So California has 19% of the USA sales, but we want to look at how much each of the states is as a representation of percent of total of global sales. So to do that, we need to create another calculation. Percent of total sales, sum sales. So that's because we want to look at the sales for each individual country, so we don't break that up. But then we need to do sum and then fix this. Fix sum sales there. Curly bracket. Yep, so that should work. So what I did there was fix the sum of the sales at the total level by doing it. We didn't need the fix bit because we're just fixing it at total. Then we can drag that into label as well. Just make it a quick percentage. And we see that California is 4% of the global sales for our business. So yeah, that's fixed. You can kind of, the idea of fixed is to keep it at a level that you determine and not have it affected by what's in the data.
Can I do the calculation again?
Calculation for percent total sales?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the important bit is there in the brackets. You need to fix it, fix that sum of sales. And because we're doing aggregate divided by, we need another aggregate if we don't have the sum there.
The whole data set now.
Yeah, right. That bit is, yeah.
And just to check, I get this, because you've got you're fixing it, the sum of sales at just the very highest level, like everything overall. The fact that you put sum before that, you could actually put average.
Yeah, you could put anything, yeah. If we put max there.
Because it's just one value.
Yeah, it shouldn't change anything, because yeah, it's right. One value.
Cool, gotcha.
So do you need to put a calculation type around it too? Or
if you did it, because you're summing the first one,
yeah,
you need to have something there because it can't work. You cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want you're doing sum of sales there, you need to have something around it.
Okay, good.
Otherwise, the calculation just doesn't like it. So yeah, that's fixed. On to include. So include calculates at a lower level of detail than what is in the visualization. So we can add more granularity to the data without adding more stuff to the visualization itself. So we're not dragging any more dimensions in, but the calculation makes the data being shown more granular. So that's what the graph there is showing. So we've got vis level of detail doesn't change, but the include expression makes data more granular and less aggregated. So here we've got an example. If we're looking at the average sales for Manchester, you see the average sales overall is 259.1. So, but then if we want to look at the average sale per customer, we can use an include expression to find how much each customer spends and then find the average of those. If you get, I'll do it in Tableau again to just explain it a bit more. So we want city in there, Manchester, and then let's drag in sales, make it an average, label it up. So yeah, we've got 259.1 there, but if we want to do sales per customer, include customer ID, some sales there, finish the brackets off, okay that. Sales per customer, average that as well. Oh, hang on. These close. Just go on the same. That's what I want. There we go. So yeah, you see there's a massive difference because customers buy more than once, so the total sum for each customer is going to be higher than if we're just averaging everything. Might be easier to see as the actual data. So if we take all the customers, so if we take this guy here, this customer, let's make it his name instead. So Chuck Sachs. So we see his average, his sales average is 183 because it's averaging all those numbers. But if we want to find the average that a customer spends in total, we need to sum those numbers up. So his total sales are 913, and then if we want to find an average of those two numbers. So we see, so because customers have more than one purchase, their total amount is more. So if you want to find the average per customer, you need to sum them and then average them, and you'll get two different values. So using the include allows you to do that without having to bring all the customers in like this, so you can just show it.
So can I
so that's the average for all customers.
Yes, that's the average per customer in Manchester.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, gotcha.
So that's the average sale. So yeah, that's an easy way to. The average sale is that one there, 259. But the average customer, the average sale
per customer, right? So
You
like,
can have a total then, isn't that? Wouldn't it be the same if you did the total?
Yeah, it's the average total sale per customer.
But because you split it by customer, wouldn't you get the same result if you put in sum of sales?
in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the include is just a way of doing it without having the customers in there.
Oh
you have
yeah,
the
so
customer
it
interview, so
doesn't
you
make
like,
sense when you show the customers.
Okay, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's a way of doing it. If you want to find it out without including the
dividing
customer.
by every instance, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Every transaction.
Yeah.
Where
Yes, it's the sum of the total transactions divided by total transactions. Where if you're doing it per customer, it sums up each customer and then adds them together and divides it by the total number of customers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Am I explaining that right?
Yeah, it's like if say every person's done 5 transactions, and say there's 10 people, then the first one would just take 50 transactions and divide them by 50.
Yeah.
Whereas what we want to do is work out for each person what's the average transaction and then divide that by the number of people.
Yeah. So yeah, they are the total. If you look at each customer individually, they are the totals. But then because we're doing the average of those totals. But yeah, anyway.
I just thought on sheet 6 that those numbers should be the same.
Because the calculation is
no, because in the second one you could have values that.
But if it's by customer, the average sales per customer, those two columns should be the same.
No, because the first one is the average sales like overall.
No, but we split it by customer, so it's the average for that customer. So Alex Avila, his average sale is 165. Average sales per customer should be the same, which they are for him, but they're not for some of the others. Oh, no, they are.
I've just changed it. No, yeah, I've just changed it. Sorry, I was just messing with the. If you make the level of detail thing, if you make it an average inside the level of detail, it'll change it.
So you had it as sum.
Yeah.
I think that was right. The number.
But I still think there's some ways, or is it not the right way?
No, I mean how you've done that is right, because then you want the average of the average, don't you?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's more than one way to get.
Yeah. I think they're just explaining different things, but it's hard to explain what they're showing.
You can divide the sum by the.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Well, the totals, the grand totals at the bottom. They are
I do not know. Yeah, I don't know, unfortunately. I don't know why that's different. That's weird.
Take it out.
Yeah, take out the from analysis. Take out the grand total.
Whoa. Now it's doing a grand total sum.
There's one, yeah, one sum.
That's why, yeah. Yeah, it's still different.
There must be one.
I don't know. I do not know. That's weird.
No, because sometimes you've got a customer that has more than one sale, so that will increase. So if they've got multiple sales, that will increase the number that you divide by. Whereas if you're doing it by customer, that doesn't just be counted on one person, right?
Possibly. Yeah, it could be rounding things. I don't know.
No, like, because you're counting different things. You're actually counting. So if the average number of sales is like, say there is one customer who has 2 sales and one customer who has 1 sales and there are 3 sales, right?
Mhm.
But then you've got 2 customers. So if you're doing average sale by customer, then you're only doing.
But surely the grand total will still be the same if all the numbers are the same. So all the numbers in the main table are the same, so surely the grand total would be. So it just doesn't make sense to work.
I'll look into it after and
Yeah.
feed back to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, so we'll move on for now. So yeah, another quick example. Hopefully this one isn't as messed up as that one. So yeah, if we want to look at which country has the biggest customers, so the size of the customer. So if we look at country, and then we look at sales.
This is still include, isn't it?
This is include still, yeah. So yeah, we see the total sales for the United States is 2 million and a bit. But then we want to look at what's the biggest customer in those countries. So we can use an include called biggest customer. And include customer ID max sales. So yeah, this time we're including customer ID in the calculation without bringing it into the visualization level of detail. Okay, that. Let's switch it out. Biggest customer. So if we put in the max biggest customer there, so we're only looking at the biggest customer in each country. We see that, again, United States is on the top. So one customer in the United States bought 22,638. But then there's a few different ones, like there's a customer in Italy that bought 7,000 and a bit, 8,000.
Could you put the sales back onto the columns and then put the max biggest customer onto the column?
Uh-huh.
And then we can show this.
Should we sort that by biggest customer as well? Let's sort their sales. So yeah, it's hard to see because the United States is so much higher than everyone else.
Yeah.
Did you exclude the United States?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
I tried to
Exclude the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can see the like Italy.
Yeah, Italy's total sales in Italy aren't huge compared to some others, but they have a customer that is buying a lot of stuff, basically.
That's really useful.
So without bringing the customer name or ID into the visualization, we've used the include function to use it in calculations. Yeah, after include comes exclude, which is basically the opposite. So we've got stuff in our level of detail that we've dragged in, but we don't want to include it in calculations. this one is kind of interchangeable with fix, I think, because you can just fix it at a higher level if you want, or you can use exclude. Exclude can be kind of tricky sometimes if you don't know your hierarchy. I'll show it in a second, but it can be, I prefer to use fixed a lot of the time over exclude. I'll show you what it is anyway. So yeah, opposite of include, we're going up the aggregation, increased aggregation, less granularity. So here, like we saw earlier with we can fix at the country level. Exclude can be used to do the same thing by excluding state and city. So let's do it. So if we go state and city in here, let's just make it United States only to make it easier. And then we'll drop in sales, and we'll drop in our fixed sales at country as well. Make that a bit bigger so you can read it. And then we can use an exclude to do the same thing that the fixed at country level is doing. So exclude state and city. So we do the double dimensions by doing the comma again. Then we do sum of sales. Okay, that, and bring it in again, and we see that we've got the same. If we wanted to do, we could change it up a bit and go edit at let's do it at state only, so only excluding the city, and we see that we're excluding the city, increasing the aggregation of the data to the state level. So it changed each state. So it's basically like doing the total for each state and adding them onto each row. But then, yeah, like I said, it can be kind of tricky with, if you don't know your, where's it gone? Nope, not on this one. If you don't know your hierarchy, if you went exclude state and you forgot to exclude the city as well, and you put it in, these would be weird. Some of them will be the same because, like Hoover, there's only one Hoover in America, so you've got the same. But then if we look at Auburn, let's put a filter in the city. Close that, stop. Do it again. Okay, so yeah, we've got 4 Auburn's, so it's adding those together. So that isn't what you want. So yeah, just be careful with when you're using exclude, make sure you've got your hierarchies right. And you know what you want to fix it at, or you know what you want to exclude anyway. Do another example. So we've got, where's category, and subcategory in there. So sales. Let's just break it up a bit as well. Color. So yeah, we're looking at the sum of sales, but then we want to use, if we want to find a percent of total, like Anna was saying earlier, we could do it with the running calculation, but you can also use level of detail for this. So we can create a quick calculator field, subcategory percent of totals. Exclude. So we want to exclude the category from this, and then hang on, let's go, let's do sum of sales first. Divided by the total sales, or the sales above category. I'm going to put that around with a sum. So then, if we went, hang on, what was I aiming for? Let's probably need it. Let's just split it up, hang on, sorry. That. Get rid of all that. So now we've got a subcategory, sales excluding sub. We want to find percent of total. So we do sum of sales divided by wait, what was it called?
Sales exclude category.
Oh, right, okay. Sum sales exclude category, thank you. Those should match. I don't know why they don't. That's it. Oh, that's why, because we excluded category and not subcategory. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So yeah, we wanted to calculate that at a category level even. So yeah, I was excluding category, but I should have been excluding subcategory because it was, I'm looking at the total for each category, not the total. I don't even know what it was calculating for, but it was wrong.
For each subcategory, so you were just dividing it by itself.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So would fixed category be the same in that example?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was because yeah, you're fixing it at the category level and finding the. But yeah, you're doing it instead of fixing it at the category level and doing it that way. You're excluding the subcategory to get to the next level of aggregation. So yeah, that was just what I was doing. What was wrong. But yeah, so that, like Anna said this morning, you can do that percent of total. That's probably easier to do percent of total. But this might be somewhere where you might want to shoehorn and exclude in there. So yeah, that's it for the explaining bit. We've got a few examples that you might want to try along. People on Centre of Excellence on GoToMeeting, if you want to join in, then feel free. I will post this on Convo after, so if you don't want to join in, then feel free to leave. If you're busy, if you were here for the listing and the explaining, then yeah, this might not be for you anymore, but if you want to join in, then feel free. Carry on. I'll stay on the line, so yeah. But we're just in the room, we're going to do a few ourselves. I'll let you lot practice. So yeah, number one is, can you create this? Where's it gone? Presentation.
Global superstore,
Yeah, global superstore. So we're looking at total sales by subcategory, but not affected by a map filter. So you're going to have to create a couple of things and then put them together on a dashboard and use a filter to affect them. But you only want the filter to affect part of the calculation. I'll see if I can get the TV to work again, because then you can look back to it. Sorry, I've changed it. Oh, it's gone again. It's back again. Doesn't like it, does it? Right, let's hope it stays. So yeah, so without any filter from the map, you've got 100% and you've got no filtered sales. But then you click on somewhere like the USA and your filtered sales come in, and it shows you what percentage of the total is coming from that area. Struggling here with this. Back.
Can you say filtered sales?
Yes.
Oh, and when you click on the map.
So click on the map and then the blue becomes the sales that you're filtering by. Or you could call it country sales if you want.
And do those percentages change when you click on the map?
Yep.
So that's percentage of sales in amount.
Yeah. So yeah, the percentages basically represent what proportion of this blue line is taken up by the light blue.
It's really good list. So that's used quite a lot. I've used quite a lot. Just having that fixed, it just gives a bit more context about how much is really, rather than just updating the scale.
Mm-hmm. Everyone okay over there yet, or a couple of minutes?
Yeah, no.
I'll give you a hint, you only need one level of detail calculation. From that you can make the rest. And the title helps. Or hopefully it helps. My aim was to make the title help.
Yeah, so we need to do labels and then the second one.
Yeah.
So the second one's just the percentage of the total.
Yeah. Shall I run through it? Are we getting really close?
And you just click off the country.
Yep.
And click back on it. Okay, well.
Shall I run through?
Do you want someone to present theirs?
Yeah, can do.
Do that.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, no.
You need your bar and bar. Does the grey one update when you click it? Yes. Cool. You know how with action filters you can unhide clear. Sorry. When you create
70% of sales by category, not subcategory, not by country.
Yeah.
With 90% of all sales.
19% of phones are sold in the USA.
And 90% of phones sold in the US.
Yeah, so you see how
So it's category and
on this
the
bar,
filtered country.
this light blue makes up 19%
So you hit
of the total.
Okay.
And that's what it's showing
to
here.
hit those actions to file.
So yeah, that's 19% of that total market.
I was thinking like using it in calculate fields, but I always think like you probably can have it as when you like for instance when you check on actions.
I like it on top of each other.
I was thinking like this, because it's got to be a way to do that. I'm not sure you can use some calculations like I've been trying. Yeah, because like, you create the field on the like pen. Yeah. I was like, it's got to be used as an actual.
Well, I don't want to spread out, can I get the ones that I can use there?
Teach. I'll just wait. So explain what we've done so far.
So I have like the sum of sales and sum of sales fixed LOD, the subcategory.
Yeah.
And I made it a dual axis and I plug them.
But is it fixed that category of business?
Should I do on that? The data. So when you want to check a calculated field, it's in here that you right click and edit. You can't edit unfortunately on the shelf.
Yeah, so your business is supposed to get that's right.
Mhm.
Then you have an issue with these labels. Is that what it is?
And seeing the bars.
Oh, okay.
So how would you think that's so Peter's one's doing it? Like what is different?
Because we get those ones, the ones go right in front of the other, right? But I don't know how you do that.
My sale is always on top.
What do you put on top?
Like you see how these filtered ones are always on the top of the blue line.
Yeah, but how do you do that? Because
Just try that. I don't know where sales should be there.
No, not that. Sort these two on your columns.
how,
Yeah, that.
So it matters what order your dual axis is on, based on what's on top, what's on the bottom. A good way to see that is the bottom things on top, top ones on the bottom.
bottom,
Axis.
things on the top
Yeah.
and the top. Okay.
And the other thing you need to do is just format. Yeah. So labels, yeah, and the colour.
No labels.
One minute. Where do you change labels? There's two ways. top tick.
Where's that show? How does it make them overlap?
And then what you can do,
Yeah, instead of doing dual axis, you can say overlap on outputs.
And then just drag it onto the shared.
In the same place. Yeah, but then we're not going to stacked.
do you see that where you were? Yeah. Mark
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And then on automatic. There you go.
So then if you want your labels either just the long lines, find that one, so you can show that labels and not numbers. Let's say this fixed one. I think you go labels. So not got that again.
Secure access. So you're doing it correctly, but what you're doing now is adding them both together instead of showing them in comparison.
I know they're wrong because they're both the same. That's all right. It's not big.
Should we go through?
Do you want to explain the difference between dual axis and measure name and measure values?
Okay.
You tried that, don't you?
Yeah, it's... What, do it by showing mine or?
Can do it.
Okay. Well, measure names and measure values is the shared axis, isn't it? So if you're having measure names and measure values showing up, then you've got a shared axis, and that isn't what you want in this case. Well, unless you can make it work.
So would you like to see the Fixed LOD?
Right, let's make it.
P2 and check down one.
That's not how I did it. I'll go through it.
So let's start with, let's drag country out. No, not country, sorry. Subcategory. We're looking at sales, so let's drag sales out as well. Organize them. So what we want is the sales to stay, so the sales for the subcategory to stay at that level all the time. Because we want the filter to not affect this bar. So if you see on here, this bar would never change no matter, the dark blue would never change no matter what country you clicked on. So you see dark blue stays the same there. There, Russia, it stays the same. So the dark blue needs to be fixed at subcategory level. So no matter what changes in the filter, the calculation is always done on the total sales in that subcategory. So to do that, we need to calculate a field. I can go sales fixed subcat. And then big fixed. So sales. So then if we now, what did I call it again? Sales fixed at subcategory. So if we drag that on to there, to make it a dual axis, and then switch back to bar charts, and then like Anna had the problem, because sales fixed at subcategory will not change, you want that to be on the bottom all the time. You want that to be behind it. So you want to switch around these two. So your sales fixed at subcategory always stays at the bottom, like that. And then, so if we now brought a filter in, it's just to show it's working. If we click Afghanistan, we need to synchronize as well. Don't forget to synchronize or it will mess everything up. So it has worked to Afghanistan, just don't have many sales. So yeah, you can see the little bit next to tables anyway. It's there, I promise. So yeah, let's do a sort by that. So it's always sorted by the bottom, this fixed sales. And then to create let's drag that off. We'll do the filtering in a second. To create the percentage one, you don't need to create a new LOD calculated field, but you can just create percent of total, percent of subcat. So then you can do sum sales, because that will be affected. That will be affected by the filter because it's not fixed. But then if we do sum of what was it called? Sales fixed at subcat. So if we do that, so that sum of sales fixed at subcat will always be fixed at that level we want it to be at. So no matter what we change in the filter, that won't change. So if we OK that, so then we can use that in our bring subcategory back in again. So because there's no filters, it's dividing by itself. So just create a quick map to confuse you all. And what did we have on here? Sales, wasn't it? Then just put it on a dashboard basically.
So that's a really nice trick when you're demoing. When you double click the map and the map appears, it's like, oh, magic. And then actually, and then you double click sales, and what it will do, put it always on the size.
Okay.
And then to show like, oh, this isn't reduced because you can't compare circles. Let me just move it to color. Build that. It's just showing that speed intuition. You automatically make a color effect. So you can double click sales. It's just on the size.
Right, yeah.
So when you're demoing, you can like say, oh, but I can't compare circles, so
color, yeah.
this is color.
So yeah, and then you want to make sure your map can filter everything. So use map as filter. They can go. Goodbye. So then yeah, click on USA, and it changes everything. That's not ordered. Let's just order that. That shouldn't have been ordered, should it? But anyway, yeah, there you go. Then there's labels and colouring and stuff you need to do, but that's basically it. So does everyone get it now that you need to fix at the subcategory level because you don't want the subcategory to change? You're not fixing at country level because that would do phones always fixed at the total of the countries.
I tried to exclude country, but I think because of the hierarchy it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, thinking about it should be, but maybe not. Don't know why. Or maybe it'll be probably because country isn't in this. You've not included country in that level of detail. The level of detail for this sheet.
There's nothing there to exclude.
No, but there is when you filter it, isn't there? Then. Oh no, but maybe it should be the order of when things happen, isn't it? Because one of them happens before filter, one happens after. I can't remember which way that.
Fixed happens before filters.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. So yeah, one other quick one for you to do. Big. This is a rolling sum of customer acquisition. So all those, each point, each like jump up is a new customer. So yeah.
Is that just a by month? Yeah.
Yeah, it's continuous along the bottom. Oops. No, don't give it away. If you could read that, then you've probably got it.
What's the y-axis label?
Running sum of distinct counts of customer ID. So you're counting when a new customer buys something from the company.
Does it matter which category?
No, you could take the categories off. It wouldn't make a difference. The categories you just have to add a bit. So ignore the categories. They can be a last thing. So yeah, the second half of the title is kind of the hint. So you're looking at each customer's first order date.
Does this need LODs?
No.
This is quick table calculation.
You have done that something like that.
What have you done on?
I'm running total on customer distinct count of customer ID.
But it's
I mean, it's
the
aggregating it by date still.
but it's their first order. So it says in the minimum.
Yeah, it's only when a new customer joins.
Which would be when they're...
It's only when there's a first
order.
Yeah,
Minimum.
distinct count, right, but
The minimum
it's
date.
You will need to create a field for the filter as well.
Remember, is the key part, as Peter said, is when was each customer's first order date? How do you calculate that? Their first order date.
The minimum order date.
So yeah, you need to calculate for that.
But then you need to filter out all the times when they weren't a first order date.
It's good exercise. Did you calculate this one?
Well, I saw something very similar and changed it to what would fit this data.
No, it's a really good one.
But yeah, you can do it without level detail.
See?
Also, it's
TD.
you need it not for the
That's the filter.
it's not first. Is this using Superstar?
Yeah, well, it's one of the superstar types. Global superstar is called. It's just got, instead of EU or America, it's the global one.
So this is possible in for fixed income people. So basically you've got to figure out when the customer's first order date. So they're running total of the number of customers from their first order date. So basically when you acquire new customers. So yeah.
Shall I go through it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. So then,
Oh, yeah.
a sheet, new sheet. So we're looking for, so go back quickly.
I got it. Do it. Go cool. So your existing calculation is going to be minimum order date is fixed calculation for the customer ID. So that's
Yeah.
it's going to go onto your filters, and then it's just the normal running total.
So yeah, how I did it was, yeah.
Oh, we
So
have,
you create a
we have chat.
We have chat.
Can't you do this one without a filter using a calculator that fixes the minimum order date per customer?
But isn't that what you put in the filter?
So the answer is yes, and what you do is a if statement saying if it's the first one, then give me that, otherwise leave it as not.
Yeah, that, wait, hang on.
But LODs are quicker than if statements, right?
I did create another, I created a new or existing customer thing for here.
Pretty much the same.
So that's the filter. So if order date is the first order date, then you count that.
So if that's true,
Yeah,
then
that means it's a new customer. So you add them on.
So if that's true, then customer ID, else not.
Yeah.
But you could just put it straight in the columns, and then update as a run total and get the same thing.
Sorry? So if you put in min running total as a filter.
Min or if you do like in the column,
Sorry, I open a new sheet and then
So
so
the first thing
date, I've got day of min order date as the x-axis.
The first thing you need to do is find the minimum order date for each customer. So if we look at, view some data. So for customer number CC2100, his first order date was the 8th of the 12th, 2012. But he's also had orders, in fact all of his orders were on that day. That's annoying. Someone with a
the one example.
Here we go, you've got to have different days.
Yeah, sort of always set in chats and
His days are all the same as well.
I think that what's useful in this exercise is having that, knowing how to do the fixed max and fixed min order date is a
Yeah.
really good trick because you use it quite often. Say for instance on last 3 month calculations and like year on year and things like that. You use that and say like, okay, based on where we are now, how can you calculate previously in the future, like when you're doing window calculations.
So yeah, right, so let's make it from the start. So we start with by creating a new field. So we're looking at each customer's first order. So you want to fix at a customer level. ID. So that's taking each customer. And then you want to look at the min order date. So when was their lowest order date? Because that'll be their first order date, won't it? So then you OK that. And then if you then you want another calculated field. So you want to filter out. If you just dragged continuous order date into here. Sorry, that one. And then drag count customer ID, count distinct customer ID. And then you want to running total this. But that's looking at all the customers and all their orders. So we only want to focus on the customers that are new. So to focus on only the customers that are new, we need to create a filter. So we want to go filter. So if the order date...
if you do control and zoom, you can actually zoom on the text file if I can just read that thing.
That equals, what do we call it this time? Customer's first order. So true for that is going to be only the first order, but false is going to be any time after the first order. So OK that. Drag our filter into the filters. So we only want the trues because we only want the first order date. OK that. And then it turns into that. So you see here, we're getting loads of new customers, but then it flattens off. And then at the end, we're barely getting any new customers. So that's what that's telling. That's what that's telling us there. Thank you.
I just didn't do exactly true and
Control
false.
and zoom. Scroll.
As well. I was like, not yet.
Cheers. Understand?
Yeah,
It's okay?
I got almost there, but then I didn't do the true or false.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, that was just to get only the first order dates.
Tableau loves booleans. Like, it loves booleans because it works fast on them because they say 1 or 0.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my final example, or final do-it-yourself example. So that's the end of me. So thank you for attending my class.
Laura's been following along as well, which is awesome.
Oh good. Cheers, Lorna.
Laura,
Oh, Laura. Oh,
it's good, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Laura's
No, Laura's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah. I was gonna say. So yeah, cheers. Anyone else who was on the COE as well. Thank you to everyone here. And I'll sign off. Goodbye. Any questions? Quickly. Everyone really stuck. How do I end? I'll stop.